second. Yeah, we here, we here. We ain't going nowhere. We right here. Yeah, yeah. Peace, peace. Yep, it's about to go down. We just now getting set up. We just now getting set up. So get your pencils and your papers. Because it's going down right now. Peace. Peace, peace, peace. Yep. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got it. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. Peace, peace, peace. We just getting set up. We just getting set up. We gonna synchronize a little bit, connect the little dots as we always do. But I'm waiting for a couple people to tap in. We gonna get started. Wait for a couple people tap in. We get started. We got a couple more minutes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me see. Yeah. It's gonna all lead back. It's gonna all lead back. I'll show you. No, you ain't gotta worry about it. It's gonna all lead back. Yep, 4 more minutes. Yep. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, 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 peace. I want to give this degree because a lot of time brothers and sisters be acting like the science is not the same. And it's one science. And it's always going to lead back to the true teachings. You know, we don't operate on religious dogma, but when I show you all camps of righteousness, understood these teachings and understood our prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I want brothers to see this. So I'm going to give a little bit of this Brown book from brothers of the Zulu Nation when I tell brothers it's all more science. Where, yes, men can get themselves in trouble, but that's on them. But the science is what we should use to build each other up, not to try to use it for ourselves and be dictators and misconstrue the teachings and misabuse its usages, you know? Because anything that's good for you can be used for so-called bad. It's just what it is. And yeah, we talk about here at the Wisdom, different books, different crafts from different sets, but it all goes back to more science. We have all these documents here to share with our brothers and sisters because we should get to the point of not let anyone separate us, not let people draw a line down our back saying we this or we that and we're not this and we're not that, and then saying and then trying to tell people who they are and who they not. Like that's not my mission. My mission is to talk about who I am, give it from a historical perspective, but never point the finger at an individual. The machine, we can talk about the body, yes, but an individual, I'm not going to make an individual. That's just not my mission. I have a bigger mission. So I just want to talk about a little bit of this Brown book by the set of the Universal Zulu Nation. And this is volume two. And you know, like I said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, the science don't lie. So we don't get caught up in men per se. We get caught up and get engulfed with the wisdom and understanding and using the tools for good. You know, regardless of the men, regardless if their mission may have been good at one point and they got misconstrued or for whatever things they may have done, that's between them and their creator. We're here, and what I'm here to do is show you the science in all sets that all brothers and sisters had. They wrote manuals, they studied this. That's why movements was big. We just don't know about these things because it's not promulgated and they want to keep us under a spell. When we talk about community, when we talk about growth, when we talk about vine and fig tree, so I'm gonna do this in sections because I know I gotta take a call. I know it's gonna be coming up in a couple seconds. But I just want to give the little introduction and a couple of the context in this literature. And it's compiled by, and this is the beauty, it's compiled by African Babata, Malika Sapphire, and King Mark Louv. If you know who these individuals are, good. But if you don't, uh, whatever. But I'm always going to expose and illuminate the wisdom to show you that all these brothers had access to the prophet's teachings. And here's the cover of the brown book. This is the cover of the brown book. They have a couple volumes, which I have them all. And I say it's nothing new under the sun. Brothers got to stop hiding stuff from people and stop trying to just act like they have something no one else have. These are manuscripts and books by different sets that studied the science. The Zulu nation, African Bambaataa. Whatever he did, that's on him. Just like they say, whatever Dr. York did, I ain't going on no individual choices that they made. I'm talking about the science and the wisdom. The science and the wisdom is valid. Everything else has nothing to do with me. But this is compiled by African Bambaataa, Malika Sapphire, and King Mark Love. So if it's compiled, that means where it came from somewhere. They just didn't give all the credit, or they said it. They said it was compiled, but like all my books are gathered, compiled, and divinely prepared. You know, and so listen to the context. You know, all this is the science, and if Moors don't have these or even have access to these basics to even start sparking conversations, then what are you going to be talking about? What literature are you going to have? What are you going to be able to compare and contrast? It's going to be nothing. It's going to be a whole bunch of rhetoric. It's going to be a whole bunch of goofy old men talking about who's the supreme grand this. A whole bunch of people that was ex-conscious community and doing no real groundwork per se, doing no real education, doing no real teaching, going to no other houses and bringing people together. Not even going into the community showing brothers how they can buy property and do things, because you're not going to get rich working. We teach business and finance. We have to have a full background, and we have to bring people in the community that have an expertise and an education on these things. But look at these topics. All this is science. Basic Moorish study. Lesson 2, Prophecies and Hadiths of NDA. Lesson 3, Moorish Science Adapt Questionnaire. Islamism, World's First Creed, Elihu's Lesson. This was given in 1973. Swift Angels, Elihu's Lesson 18. Elihu's Adapt Lesson 231. Elihu's Adapt Lesson 240. Elihu's Adapt Lesson 258. Elihu's Adapt Lesson 259. 101 Quran Questionnaires. A look at Moorish Muslims, their architecture and influences in India country. A message to all members of Sudanese of Mirakush, and indigenous people history, Black Native American history. What were you called before 1492? Benjamin Banneker. The Zodiac Constitution, a look at the term resident and basics of drafting a suit. I'll just give a little bit because I'm not going to stay too long in this, but I just want to go over just some things that maybe you know, maybe you don't know. And if you do know, ride with me. It'll be just a refresher. But it could, but if I could just get you all to think again, you would be able to save yourselves. That was a quote they say from our prophet Noble Ali. You know, but they say it's some archaeological finds. Excuse me, are of the ancient natural people in Southwest Amexima, Central Africa, South America. These lands are all anciently Old Central Amexima, or anthropologically referred to as Omex or Olmec. World historians and anthropologists are aware that the land masses, the continents, were all connected. What is known as Africa today in the East is ancient Temeria. That's what the writer says. What is known as North, Central, South America were modernly called Africa. What is modern name for the Moabites? Moroccans. What is the modern name for Moabites? Is Moroccans. Where is the Moroccan Empire? North Amexima. What is the modern name for Amexima? Africa. You know, and of course that's coming from the one-on-one questionnaires. More should have those. So, as the writer was saying, some Albion European trailer. I'm just giving you the science, social engineers, and the reconstructors of history have exercised their demo intent to distort history and disclaim many of the ancient artifacts, denying their relationships to the original ancient Mesoamericas. Attempts to have been made to misrepresent these stone heads and other artifact scripts and instruments as being unrelated to the true forebears, being the now misnamed natural people, branded as Negroes, blacks, and colored people. And like I said, a lot of these religious people, man, be saying some of the most outlandish things like it's Crips and Bloods. It really hurts my heart. I heard some Hebrew Israelite brothers talk about, oh man, these Christians is coming up. They using dictionary and etymologies. This. I said, what? I said, y'all acting like God is only for you, like this some old gang. That's why I said, what is wrong with these grown Negroes, man? Like that's just hard for me to fathom. For somebody to spend their whole day talk about these Christians is getting smart. Like I think y'all talking about the same God, Christian and so-called Hebrew Israelite. If the so-called Christian is using proper linguistics. You know what I mean? But being now misnamed natural people, branded as Negroes, blacks, and colored people, these artifacts do not relate to any alleged other people and stand on their own merit. Truth needs no apology. Just like I say, truth has no size. A few misspelled Asiatics among our own continue to support the separation tactics initiated by, Albi, the Trailer, no disrespect, and propagate teachings that separate their brother Moors of old Amexa, old Mex. And then I even see people on TikTok making videos, yeah, the Moors sold each other out, sold the black people out. They use an old clip of Hakeem Bey, the brother, talking about a dollar, and here it is, some young buck talking about the Moors sold people out. And I'd be like, man, that is just wrong thing. Like Negroes sell each other out when you get caught with some dope, or you get caught in a car drive without license. I show you how these Negroes set the COINTELPROs up and set up the Black Panthers. It was suckers that'll say something, they'll get pulled over for no license and tell on the whole operation. And these Negroes have nothing, don't know nothing about true history. It's just a TikTok era. That's all it be. That's all it be. The Mayans, the Incas, the Aztecs of old ancient and central Amexa, African America, anthropologically, known as the Nautatanian or the mixed Moors. When I talk about grafting, they too are descendants from ancient Moabites, Africans, and Asiatics. This is just what it is. If you do a little science, a lot of other people try to create divisions amongst their own people. But true world history and knowledge of pre-Columbian historical evidence consistently prove their claims to be void of validity or truth. Sincere and studious research counters and shows contradictions in their Eurocentric and a Negrocentric propaganda, and counter their failures to acknowledge the ancient Asiatic Africans and Moabites and Canaanites progenitors. These same disclaimers admit, on the other hand, that the so-called Canaanite, the Africans, are the mothers and fathers of civilization. Note the clear contradiction. Watch this. The Ruas and others at Pedras, Nigris, Yaxchilian, Tikal, etc., and so on, and the ancient people and builders of these complexes long predate the later Mayans known today. So when you say Moors in America per se, the word Moor comes from the Latin word Maurus, M-A-U-R-E-S, and the Greek adjective Moros, M-A-U-R-O-S, meaning dark or black, denoting, denoting, denoting skin color, circa 460, circa 46 BC. So when you look at the Oxford English Dictionary, the New York Oxford University Press, 1977, page 846, the term moor is also used as a transitive verb to moor a ship. So you can also research in Webster's New World Dictionary, the third college edition, 1988, on page 881. The word admiral comes from the Arabic word amiri, Ameri, or amari, meaning commander, Moorish navigator. When you see the rudder and the sextant, the second revised, March 1st, 1989. Page 6, the root Amir or Amir, Amir, is Amer, meaning American. Webster's New Word Dictionary, third college edition, 1988, page 44. The word American means a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper colored races. You see, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. You didn't search that. That's just that statement of a word America is so prophetic. And then you got these crazy Negroes talk about they hate America. They're not Americans. Think about this now. Because I'm an American. I'm an American. Noah's Webster Original 1828 edition of American Dictionary of the English Language. The term American, etymologically, is commander, love riches, Amir commander, Arabic word, amor, love, French word, rica, rich, Spanish word. Circa 480 AD, the monastic brotherhood, the Catholic Moors from Morocco, landed on present day Connecticut, which is North America, near the coast of Long Island Sound. The inscription found on granite outcrops in Cocoponset Forest, Connecticut, and the inscription of Hajj Minmound Rock, location in Figuig toward the east of Morocco, confirms the voyage. When you read the Moroccan daily newspaper Le Matin de Sarah et du Maghrib, September 16, 1995, for more information on the permanent mission for Morocco in New York, New York. You can research all this stuff. And then, circa 700, 800 AD, several Muslim schools in North America, Valley of Fire, which was in Nevada, Mesa Verde, Colorado, Mimbres Valley, New Mexico, and Canyon, Indiana. North Africa, Arabic and Old Kufic Arabic scripts are engraved on rocks, test diagrams, charts, including writings, reading, arithmetic, religion, history, geography, mathematics, astronomy, and sea navigation. And you can research this in one of the books by Dr. Barry Fell at Harvard University. I got all of the research. Circa 1492 AD on Monday, October 21st, 1492, so-called Christopher Columbus admits in his papers while sailing near Cuba, he saw a mosque on top of a beautiful mountain. The ruins of the mosque and the minarets with inscriptions of Quranic verses has been found in Cuba, Mexico, Texas, Nevada. The dress of the Indian, the Moorish women, long veils, the men, breed clothes, painted in the style of Moorish draperies in Grenada and Trinidad. Pre-Columbian Muslims in the Americas by Dr. Yusuf Moura. By Dr. Yusuf Mroueh. I'm giving you all references. These descendants of the North American Moors are the present-day Iroquois, Algonquins, Anasais, Hocoans, Olmecs, Apache, Arawak, Araucana, Chavin, Cherokee, Cree, Hoopa, Hopi, Maka, Mohawk, Naka, Zulu, Zuni. These words also derive from the Arabic and the Islamic root origins. You see? Pre-Columbian Muslims in the Americas by Dr. Yusuf Mora. The word Indian is India. The word Indian is India. Like INK, like ink. It means black pigment. It means black pigment. See Webster's New Word Dictionary, third college edition, 1988, page 686. But do you see how all these references, like the other references I gave you, was the pre-Columbian Muslims in the Americas by Dr. Yusuf Mori? When I just said that the descendants of the North American Moors are the present-day Iroquois, Algonians, Anazis, Hocoims, the Olmecs, the Apache, the Arawak, the Arcana, the Chavan, the Cherokee, the Cree, the Hoopa, the Hopi, the Maka, the Mohawk, the Naka, the Zulu, the Zuni. But then these words also derive from Arabic and Islamic root origins. You see? Derive. So if the Arabic language comes from the Nabatean alphabet, the Arabic language comes from the Nabatean alphabet. Do you understand what I'm saying? When we can start tracing things, when we have to be scholastically, when we can start tracing things with reference, we have to get outside the biblical scripture too. Why? If we're going to do scholarship and if we're going to do language, pre-Columbian Muslims in America by Dr. Yosef Mori. The word Indian is India, remember? Like the ink, it means black pigment. The statues of the descendants of the Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal on American soil is free white persons. I tell all my brothers and sisters that. They be like, what you mean, Sheik? I be like, listen, what's your nationality? Moorish American. What's your race? Asiatic? I choose Asiatic. What's my status? Free white. You have to understand that. When you get the SF 181 form, anything that's pertaining to ethnicity, you need to know how to figure it out the right way. The status of the inhabitants of Spain and Portugal on American soil is free white persons, natural men and women. This status does not apply to the Caucasian race, the Aryan race, or the Indo-European race under the Naturalization Act, amended by Act July 14th, 1879. ISTAT 103 dash lowercase c dot 3. Even in the Black Law Dictionary, 4th edition, page 797. I'm just using these for reference. Circa 711 AD, the Moors that ruled Muslim Spain and Portugal, you know, and Portugal, hold on, hold on. Yeah, there we go. They'll be up. But the Moors that ruled Muslim Spain and Portugal for centuries were black or dark-skinned people. Peace, Noble Malik. Yep. Yep. You can also reference that in the golden age of the Moors. And Ivan Van Sertima broke that down eloquently. You know, very easy on page 337. But circa 1503 and 15 to about 1517 AD, an estimate of about 3,000 Aboriginal or American Moors were captured from the eastern seaboard of Terra Nova, North America. Some of their names are Ali, Melchor, Miguel, Maine, Juan, Pedro, Antonio, and Juan Marco. All those names. A record of an account can be found in the so-called slave books of Seville, Valencia, Catalina, Spain. You can research these. These are all references. They were classified as Negro. Negro means dead, and black, dirty and evil in this context. Also, another reference is African and Native Americans by Jack D. Forbes on page 24. Around circa 1676 AD, Europeans that arrived in New England, North America, described Aboriginal American Moors to be black as gypsies, Egyptians, circa 1763 AD on October 7th, 1763. King George of Great Britain's treaty with the indigenous people, aka Indians, regarding land acquisitions and demarcation lines in America. You know the demarcation line? The four corner colonies district and separate governments are called Quebec, East Florida, West Florida, and Grenada. See Washita the Hungdai Empire newspaper, December 1998, front page. When I talk about Empress Gaston Elbe, circa 1774 AD. The five-pointed green star, what my boy say? He said, man, you ain't even pay attention to that goofball that was just running their mouth. Man, I don't be paying attention to clowns on internet like that on YouTube. I just block them, man. Be paying attention to that stuff. I'm too old for that. But yeah, the five-pointed green star in the center of a field of red is the Moorish flag, was the alleged so-called cherry tree that General George Washington chopped down. That's what they say the story goes. But, you know, it is what it is. When you look about a lot of documents that you should already have where you can compare and contrast to make sure you're not doing nothing wrong and ask the right questions, because that's what we use all these pieces of wisdom for, to make sure you're doing things in the right way. So nobody will try to get you caught up and say, well, this person may not know that, so I can try to scam them or get them caught up that I can make them something, you know? And none of that happens here. But more civics relation concepts, volume 14, page 37. All these are different manuscripts and different books or catalogs that go with Moorish science. Like you got the Moorish Quran, you got the Silent Brotherhood of the East, you got the Esso workbook, you got the even Exhumed of the Nation, you got the just so many other books to go with Unto Thee I Grant. You know what I mean? But it's so many books that the Vedas, the Brahmin texts, all those go hand to hand with the Moorish Quran. But then history, like you see a lot of Moors just promulgating things and they operating as sovereign citizens and criminals. And I told y'all, research Roger Elvig. That's criminal behavior. We're not trying to create no new government or expatriate from this de facto government. When you expatriate from this so-called de facto government, then who will you be affiliated with? These Negroes be domestic terrorists, foreign and abroad. And that's what they don't know. That's what they don't know. But hey, who am I? You know? I know what I know. And my brothers that's under the auspices, they know the science that they teach in their communities. They know what it is. And that's why we're going to always be here. But on October 20th, 1774, British American subjects of the British Empire formed the first United States of America perpetual constitutions in the 13 colonies called the Articles of Association. Recognize Moors as Moors, not Negroes, or Blackamoors. Research what I'm telling you. I'm only setting the precedent. Remember, I'm only in the schoolmaster. Everything I'm talking about, all my European colleagues have it, especially the ones that's Masons. Journals of the Continental Congress, page 75 to 78. Circa 1774 AD, Noah Webster and his associates branded the Moors Blackamoor. Moor was dropped and replaced with the customary term nigger, Negro, color, or black. Because remember, in the 1599 Geneva Bible, they called you a Blackamoor. Research what I'm telling you. The use of the word nigger or Negro represents the spiritually dead people and not the Nigeritan people. Blackamoor, now for Blackmoor, a black man or woman, especial, an African Negro, any very dark complexion person. When you see the New Century Dictionary on English language in 1927. Circa 1775 AD, the first president of the United States of America under the Articles of Confederation was John Hanson. They say was a Blackamoor, they say, a Maryland Saugeen native American patriot who fought in the American Revolution. And remember I showed y'all in the Battle of Bunker Hill, they whitewashed Peter Salmon and Oliver Cromwell out the Battle of Bunker Hill. Remember that as well. So I have to do a little bit more research on that specific topic, you know. But Nuwabic Moors newspaper, August 7th, 1991. You know, I said all different sets was under this sign, was knew who Noble Drew Ali was. From Dr. York to Father the Divine to Daddy Grace to Elijah Muhammad to Farrakhan to all of them. All of them at that time knew. To David Ford Muhammad, whatever you want to name him. All of them, all of it, all of it. It's just what it is. You know? A Moorish Mason by the name of Ben Bey Emmanuel Mu Ali. they say they say that Benjamin Banneker was the architect who designed the streets of Washington D.C. with Masonic codes and astrological glyphs, which I have the books. And we put the puzzle together. I give a lot of my brothers and sisters things that nobody would ever have in a lifetime unless you met a certain person that's with it, that understand it. But then the person will have to know how to use the tools. A lot of people don't know how to use the tools because it's just not their life. They may be a collector. You know, just like some people collect cars or some people collect tennis shoes, some people just collect books. And it's a Chinese phrase called Sudoku. Research what I'm saying. It's called Sudoku. Just collecting books and never reading them or never applying them to your life. You know, that's why I say it's just a different type of wisdom. That's all. But America's oldest secret, the talisman, U.S. mysteries, street lines of Washington D.C. Y'all got that, nobles? Y'all got that. By the signature of the Invisible Brotherhood, the autobiography of Benjamin Banneker. Write that down, Malik. Make sure y'all got it, for I can go back in my notes and make sure y'all got these, because you need these. Circa 1787 AD, assisted by England, Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands, France, Germany, Finland, Sweden, the United States of America, ended their war with the Moors, the Moroccan Empire, and signed the Treaty of Peace and Friendship with the Emperor Muhammad III, the Moorish Mason. The aforementioned treaty is the longest unbroken treaty in the history of the United States. It hasn't been broken. U.S.-Moroccan relations by Robert G. Newman, former U.S. ambassador to Morocco, 1973-1976, circa 1789 A.D. On December 1st, 1781, the ninth president of the United States, George Washington, apologized to his Masonic brother, Emperor Muhammad III, for not sending the regular advices, aka tribute, a payment by one ruler or nation to another as acknowledgement of submission or price of protection, aka excessive taxes. Also, President Washington asked the emperor to recognize the newly formed government, the Moroccan Empire, aka the Moors, who were the first nation to recognize the 13 colonies as a sovereign nation. Allegedly, the emperor agreed to their recognition because 25 Moors were members of the First Continental Congress. Remember in the book America in Black and White? I'm telling y'all, it's all there. Once you start putting the puzzles together, who cares how someone feel? Who care how someone feel? You know, who cares? And why? Hi, am I Christian? Why would am I Christian? Man, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, the Moroccan Empire Moors were the first nation to. That's crazy. We're the first nation. That's cool. Peace to you, brother. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. But the Moroccan Empire of the Moors were the first nation to recognize the 13 colonies as a sovereign nation. Allegedly, the emperor agreed to their recognition because 25 Moors were there. So on Wednesday, July 20th, 1790, a petition was presented to the House of Representatives from the sundry the free Moors, subject to the prince under the emperor of Morocco in alliance with the United States of America. So when I be giving brothers and sisters history, it's not for you to take things and misconstrue things. It's for you to understand. It's for you to understand. Because a lot of people, how can I say it? How can I say this? With all respect to everyone. We're not orthodox and we don't believe in anything outside of ourselves. The closest place to find God, Allah, whatever you want to call it, is in your heart. Anything outside yourself is true shirk. So with me, I deal with a lot of the Sufi hadith, you know, the type of Islam that I'm under, you know, the type of wisdom that I'm under. So I give everybody respect. I understand all religious rights, you know, but I don't operate with nothing outside myself, you know, with all due respect to everyone. But let's proceed. The writings of George Washington, I recommend everyone to get that from the original manuscript source, 1745 to 1799. Editor John C. Fitzpatrick, volume 30, page 474 to 476. You will be able to start painting some historic pictures. And then when I show you Thomas Jefferson Quran, and I start painting historical events in world history, for you can get a clear idea. When I start showing you Ibn Battuta, when I start showing you all these Islamic brothers that traveled to the Americas, that seen things that look just like you and me, it's so. Like I always tell brothers and sisters, history is going to reveal everything. You know. Remember, we talk about the Dred Scott case from the United States Supreme Court holds that Africans, aka Moors, imported, captured in an undeclared war of enslavement into this country, territory of the United States and several states, and sold as perpetual slaves, were not included nor intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, whether emancipated or not, and remain without rights or privileges except such as those which the government might grant them. So I don't, this what I tell people. As a brother, as a melanated brother, as a person that study all religious books, that have a full library, I'm not on no religion side because I know what a lot of religion done. People talk about the transatlantic slave trade, well, but with all due respect, they don't talk about the Islamic slave trade. No disrespect to no one. We're in a Bukhari hadith. It called misnomer black people raising heads. No disrespect to no one. You know, and then so I get all perspectives. I get all perspectives. But the Dred Scott versus Stanford, Black Laws Dictionary 6th edition. And remember, before Abraham Lincoln was the president, he defended the Moore in court, the Spencer and Dungy, the Spencer and Dungy case. And remember, it was illegal to be Negro, black, and colored since the 1828. And remember, the white man's constitution in Wilmington was that North Carolina, where a European, the Albany, the Trilodite came together, said, we're not going to be ruled by no Negroes. I'm just setting the precedent of who you are as a people. Not saying no one is this and that. I don't care or what no one else profess, but you should profess something out of your mouth who you are. We don't have time to be talking about where nobody else come from. They come from the same place you come from. But what about you? What about you? We should know who we are. Should nobody be able to tell you or reclassify you who you are if you know? You have a right to proclaim, declare, and have due process. The religious laws is just one. Our nationality and our spirituality is the two of the fifth that was taken from us from so-called slavery per se. you know? So I don't diss nobody religion. I get it. If you understand the three religious rights, the Fatimid, the Paraclete, or the Jerusalem, the Christian, if you have a clear understanding, and I have a clear understanding because I'm a Sufi, I'm a Tasawwuf. I don't, I have a clear understanding of all the outside stuff. But no one's going to come to me and try to dictate or tell me anything, especially if they don't know the language, if they don't know the ancient language, if they don't know the Syriac language, if they don't know the Aramaic language, if they don't know that Arabic language come from the Nevitan alphabet, if they don't understand the Surah library, and a lot of things that when I bring out the manuscripts and the lexicons, when I say, well, this don't mean that. And then I don't mean no disrespect to nobody, but a lot of things be prejudiced because a lot of things they won't show the color of certain things of the forefathers. And I say, to me, I don't care what religion it is. When you play those games, I don't have to play games with no one. I just don't play them. And I just won't talk about them because it's meaningless to me. I never have a religious conversation with someone under their religious perspective. I don't have time to do that. I would never do nothing. I would never do that on social media. I just block whoever want to argue or have their religious perspective. With all respect, because I know a lot of people angle. I just give an analogy. I had one Islamic brother arguing, Islamic brother arguing with a Christian brother, and an Islamic brother was like, okay, he was trying to use scripture like, well, your Jesus, your Bible says that if a man smack you, you just turn the cheek. And I laughed, and the dude, the young brother, really didn't know what to say. He was a young brother, and I'm a young European. And he asked me, because I always walk past the library, because them dudes be out there with the crazy stuff, you know. And he just asked me, he was like, wait, are you busy? I said, no. I was like, what's going on? He was like, well, can you explain that? I said, well, do you understand what analogy, parable, and symbology is? The Islamic brother really didn't nothing because he was a young student too. He was just pumped up with pride. And then I said, do you know what a metaphor is? He was like, no. I said, well, then. I said, when you learn what a metaphor is and what that statement that you just read is a metaphor, then you can come back and correct your teachings. And I kept it pushing in love because a lot of people be coming with anger, you know, like that religiously crazy stuff. And I don't have time for that. I can care less I don't care however a person believes, that's great for them. Just like if a person Democrat or Republican, I don't care, that's great for you. Could I work with you? If we got some of the same things that we feel is righteous, if we got some of the same common denominator, just like I learned how to work with all different culture and sexuality with people, just like I work in behavior health therapy because I'm a professional. Just like if I was a teacher. That's why I'm not judgmental. I can work with anybody. My wisdom and the science and the love and the peace that I'm under allows me to. It makes me it makes me be a missionary everywhere I go. I mean, I be giving the clothes off my back. Like all that stuff don't matter to me. I know Islamic brothers. I know homeboys that's Nation of Islam brothers, and I know Sunni Muslims, and both of them agree different. Because my Nation of Islam brothers don't believe how the Sunni Muslim believe. You know? Are they wrong? No. They don't believe in no sky god. They say to the Christian and the Islam Muslim, what have your sky god done for you? They say Elijah Muhammad have done more than any sky god for them. I'm not finna argue with no one because that's not my plight. But I understand. I have a true understanding where I can sit down with reason with different nationalities, you know? Yep. But the reason why Moors, Africans, cannot be U.S. citizens because the Moroccan Empire has a business arrangement with the British Empire, European corporate contract citizens, aka, Caucasian men. The United States is a foreign European corporation conducting trade and commerce in foreign lands. I'm just reading the docs. But in Remarian's estate, 36 New York, 479, affirmed in U.S. verse Perkins, 163 U.S. 625. This is a precedented case. The hidden history of the Moorish people with the United States of America is recorded on the back of a Federal Reserve note. That's what it says. It says there are two seals on the back of the dollar, Federal Reserve note, U.S. currency. On the left side is the Great Seal of the Moorish Empire, and on the right is the seal of the United States. There are over 33 passwords on the dollar bill. The indigenous sovereign people, the Moors, were snake betrayed by some of the European colonial state citizens who enslaved the Moors and branded them Negro, black, colored, or African or Hispanic, West Indian, etc., in order to conceal their true identity. Research the Anointed News Journal, June 1998, page 23. America is the code word for Africa. The Morocco is in Africa. America, decoded, is Africa, and Morocco, decoded, is America. Circa 1913 AD, knowledge of our Moorish heritage would have been lost if it was not for the Moorish Mason, our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali, who founded the Moorish Science Temple, in 1913. For the unconscious, denationalized Moors, the misnomer blacks and colored, Moorish represents our nationality. Science represents our ancestors' spiritual arts, maintained in esoteric Freemasonry, and the temple represented our body, the dwelling place of the creator of the universe. And also, Noble Drew Ali is responsible for the Moorish flag flying once again on American, aka, you want to say Moroccan soils, whatever, in 1913. The state of Morocco was not allowed to fly the Moorish flag until 1956 AD, after their independence from France. Nationality must not be combined with Freemasonry. See, listen, I be watching all these TikTok videos. That's why I said, if all these people so scared of some Freemasons, why don't they just come on my page? All the scary men that I be seeing on the internet, on TikTok, they be talking about, it's so, one dude on TikTok, and y'all be out here like y'all some gangs. Y'all need to be worried about these Masons. I said, dude, come on. Like these people got to be clear. Like, if who? Show me. Because to be one, you must know one. And none of these people on the internet or TikTok is doing nothing important to no Mason messing with them. I'm telling you, because it ain't nobody. It's a waste. That's just rhetoric. That's just spookism. That's TikTok. I'm telling you what I know. Especially if it's in an urban community and there's some brothers, they definitely real talk. Circa 1933 AD, the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, recognized the Moors domiciling in America and their Moorish titles, El Bey Ali, Al Day, researched the House during Revolution 75. And in 2012, the mayors recognized our Declaration and Proclamation from January 8th to the 13th is Moorish American Week. Right now, to this day, till this day. That's why I don't get into no religious argument with nobody. I tell people I do things the Moorish way. I'm not Orthodox. I don't have no problem with nobody doing no 5 salats. Anything I do the Al Salat, I do it standing up. And I know that was the time for the so-called slave to go out and pray. That was my resting time. That's what the ayat say. Ain't no disrespect to no one. I don't have no disrespect to no one. You can do whatever you want, The ancient Moors were referred to by the national names. Like we were able to use our national names. That's why I said, hell, I understand other people, the Islam we under it that I represent is not what nobody else represent. Because the Islam we represent is not Orthodox. The Islam we represent is the science within. Religious people say, "Oh, this not it, and this is the last." We get that. A person, that's how they feel. I'm like, once again, I'm not for you. I don't believe in nothing outside myself. That's not the science I represent. If you believe in a sky god, just like a Christian do, then that's on those people. I have nothing to talk about or disagree or debate about. I'm not going to answer none of those things. But the ancient Moors were referred to by their national names, like Washita, Almoravides, Almoravides, Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites. Read your Circle 7 Quran. What are the American, the copper color American, the Israelites, the Ishmaelites, keep the Passover called The Green Corn Dance, History of the American Indians by James Adair. Remember I show y'all all that in James Adair? Remember I show y'all how Joseph Smith, the whole book of the Mormon is about you. Joseph Smith, when he was writing the Book of Mormon, he plagiarized so much of the view of the Hebrews. I'm telling you. But James Adair, 1775, page 80 to 101. The ancient ones, or mound pyramid builders of North America, over 150, unearthed some Egyptian style are up and down the Mississippi River, according to U.S. Bureau of Ethnology, was built by copper U-skin Asiatic Moors. Also, Bertram Thomas, his book called The Arab, the A-R-A-P, not A-R-A-B, because Bertrand Thomas told you who exactly was the Arab is. Hell, Vladimir Dale, ancient dictionary of what an Arab consists of, the ancient Russian, he'll tell you what an Arab is. I don't be arguing with my brothers and sisters, but they be knowing the truth. I be telling brothers and sisters, I hear you. But you're not finna tell me what it's about historically. I understand a person's religious story. Just like what I be telling the Mason brothers and my so-called Eastern Stars, I said, don't give me no European story, no Daughters of America Revolution. I ain't here for that. I ain't here for that. I have every right to speak my history. And if anybody that have a problem with it, they don't have to listen to me. You know? We don't have to give that history to prove what it is. Now we can start talking about what happened. Now, do we want to talk about that? Because the son does the bidding of the mother. Do we want to start talking about that? Which a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. Research the U.S. Bureau of Ethnology, 12th Annual Report, 1980 to 1891. And there go your proof. The Aboriginal Americans, or mound builders of North America, built ceremonial mounds that date as far back as 5,400 years ago. The oldest mound in North America to date is found in Watson Break, Louisiana, 32 kilometers southwest of Monroe. But all that Arabic stuff, like I can show you, like I tell you, with the Surah library, I can show you all that stuff, a lot of that Talmudic Jewish stuff, and a person can be mad all they want to. I can trace and tell you right where it comes from. A lot of the stuff is Talmudic stuff, it's Jewish history, from scholarship, and all my Islamic brothers know, especially my professor that I know. Especially when I break the language down, I say, okay, well, what's the alphabet? This Nabatean alphabet, right? We start breaking things down and be like, okay, well, we know where this come from. We start tracing it. Boom, boom, boom. Look at the similarities. Look at the same thing. Boom. It's just facts. And then the whole demonstration, it has to get illuminated. Japan Times newspaper, September 20th, 1997. Reported by Joe W. Sanders, circa 500 BC. It's a photo of a copper-colored Aboriginal America from the Hopewell Mounds in Ohio. I'm gonna show y'all the picture when I pull it up later. North America. It's in the Journal of the Moorish Paradigm by Hakeem Bey, and it's not. And Hakeem Bey is a European with a Jew. That Hakeem Bey. I ain't talking about the brother that be on TikTok, old one. That be, that ain't the one I'm talking about. Hakeem Bey is a European Jew with a big beard that wrote all the Moorish Paradigm journals. So when I talk about history and all that stuff, I don't have a problem with no one religious aspects. But if they look like me, religion ain't gonna get it. Why? Because you were still a religious slave. Why? You had the overseer. And when you in the Christian aspect, you had the what? The Protestant. Misnomer black people thought when they got baptized, they was gonna be free. But you were still a baptized slave. And then in Islam, we already had it. We already had our Moradime. We already had the Zulu. We already had certain things, with Credo Mature, certain science that we had. I'm telling you, it ain't no disrespect to no one else. That's why when I tell people about the Santeria and the Orisha, and when I tell people about the Mommy Waters and all that, with the Catholic Church hidden. See, I deal with my culture. I deal with my culture. So all that stuff you see when the European Jews they swing in the turkeys and all that, that's all African culture. Everything is connotated African culture, and they don't want you to pray to your saints. That's why we did certain things to connotate it to make it look like we weren't praying to our saints. I'm trying to tell you what I know. When I deal with my orishas, when I deal with the tarot cards, when I deal with all that, when I pull out my talisman bag, a lot of stuff that I do, I don't show. Your culture. And they try to make some magic or some aliens, talk about some jinn and some Anunnaki. Well, you the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki is the Iberian. You see how they dress? They dress like you in your Moorish garbs. These is facts. These is facts, man. From scholarship. Also, the court declared the lawful landowners are the heirs of Henry Turner, Washita Moors. You know what I'm talking about. Empress, Gostin, El Bay. Research the history. Case number 191, U.S. Supreme Court, United States versus heirs of Henry Turner. Research it. The present day Empress, Her Highness, Verdice, Tiara, Washita Bay. You see Empress with the turban on, with the fez on. She is the living heir of the ancient ones, the empire of Washita, the Hungdii. They are recognized by the United Nations as the oldest people in the world. Research what I'm telling you. Excerpts from Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry and Still in Denial of Your Ancestry? It's no longer a question as to whether those who have been branded Negroes, colored, blacks, etc., are descendants of Moors. Upon reading the Bull Inter Caetera and the Papal Bull and the Dum Diversus, I'm telling you, research what I be telling y'all, man. That religious stuff, we got to let it go if we ain't going to tell it from our side. Because everybody telling from their side, trying to convert you to their prophets. No, they try to say one of their prophets is better than all your prophets. No, man. They say our fathers didn't know how to read. Well, damn it, we know how to read today. I know how to read today. And ain't nobody finna come to me with that I know can't read. No matter what religion, no matter what color they are. We ain't playing it. And the North American exploration from Columbia's encyclopedia, one can figure out why this truth has been suppressed from the natural peoples on earth. Upon further review, one can also clearly see that our struggle is within the principles of law and not within the fierce called racism. Yes, the symptoms of racism and slavery are there. However, it has no nickel in the dime in regards to the solution and the earthly salvation of you or your children. People be worried, be thinking we want the power the same way they had the power to step on our necks. No, we don't want the power to step on your neck. No. That ain't what we promulgating. We promulgating wisdom and understanding. We just want our own. We want to be able to have the same, the equal, be able to teach our own, which the law say you can. Not assimilate. And if brothers come along and together, we can do this. We don't got to worry about no one else. We can be private just like everyone else. We have our own brotherhood. And I teach the degrees, the sciences. We don't have to bow down to no one. You don't need no potentate over you. You don't have to take no oath over you. You don't have to be read no selected books and somebody over you. No, because that ain't how this works with us. This is a brotherhood, and you are God's. That's what this is about. And if we stand as one. And if we stand on the rules of engagement laid out by our ancestors to preserve our prosperity. These same rules are embodied spiritually in most written national and international documents, which upon pondering, we find them written with a message to us to assist in our awakening. To assist in our awakening. And that's why I be telling people, I say, man, I tell people, man, I lost my brother. My brother was murdered by a Negro. My baby brother killed Jelani Goodman Bay. I got my master's degree. I got one of my degrees, my bachelor's degree from Clear University. It's in Howell, Michigan, where the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan live. They under the Quran. The Quran is the Quran. They just put an L in it. I'm telling you what I know. If I break down more wisdom, I don't be knowing what people be afraid of. Well, I see color. When people say I don't see color, I see color. I don't know what nobody say. I'll be lying if I say I ain't see color. I have eyes to see. So I definitely see color. without no disrespect to no one, I definitely see color. I definitely see color. You can call it what you want to. That's not racist. I said I see color. I see color. You say you don't see color. I say I see color. What I mean, what's wrong with that? If you see different nationalities, they're not gonna write. And somebody asks you what is their nationality, just off face view, you can't just answer I don't see color. Well, that's fine. I see color. Color is not. I love color. I love all colors. I love blue. I love red. I love purple. I love green. I love all colors. I see all colors. Why? Because I have eyes to see. That's why I see all colors. And to say I don't see colors would be unjust of the creator. You know, would be unjust of people different culture and different view of things. So when people say racism, your statement is racism. So we're going to move that individual because that's the thing about people. Everybody have the choice. But to say something is racism is very idiotic because I didn't say nothing racist. I said I see color. I said I see everything. And anybody that say they don't, they'll be lying. Especially, and that's what I tell people. It'd be hard for people to be honest. It'd be hard for people to be honest, but we'll move them right along. I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm not gonna deal with nobody like that feel that way. Most of my colleagues are European. That's what I tell people before they even make statements. They should understand what they're saying. Most of my colleagues are Europeans. Most of my lectures are with my European people in Arizona. Most of all my people. So I don't know what people be talking about. You know, I don't know what people be talking about, but that's their problem. I think when people look at, especially when I first moved out to Arizona, they should see the whole family. That I would like adopted me as a son, because I was new to Arizona. Me and my empress, my homie Devin and his mother, they a mixed family. His dad was African American, but his mom was white. His grandmother was a European, a misnomer white lady, Albion Trelonite. But yeah, they had a huge mixed family, and you probably can see a lot of pictures of that on social media. My family, you know, but they see color. She see color. She love all people, but she see color. Duh, like we're not colorblind. That's just, I think when people say that, I think that's just an easy excuse to say, well, no, I don't see color. Yeah, right. Everybody see color if you have eyes to see, you know? If you have eyes to see. And then it's just like, I know certain people, because I've worked in corporate a lot, and we always have this question. I know we used to have in a civics class when we ask people about hiring and about hiring people. So say when a person say they don't see color per se, and say you got this, you say you have a misnomer black person and a misnomer European person, and say, I just give an analogy, say you a European person, and that European person is just as talented as the so-called misnomer black person, but say you're a European and they're both talented, which one would you pick? And I always tell people to be honest, and we done this unbiasedly, you know? We done this unbiasedly where we didn't see who, you know, and everybody answered the way I thought they would. Because I said, you can be honest. People can be honest. That's just the world. Is it racist? Is it, I wouldn't say that. Because everybody have the choice. That's why we here in America. That's why you have the religious rights to be a so-called Christian, Muslim, to be whatever you want to be. You want to be a transgender, whatever that. Well, that's what it here. So to say a person don't see these things it really don't make sense. If that's the case, then a person say, well, what are you fighting for? Because a person that's been subjugated by hate, say based off the color of their skin, they'll say, well, why would you say that? Are you a different nationality? Because a different nationality can say that. But I don't think a brother that may be melanated or a sister but that may be melanated may feel different. You know? And that's what I be saying about dialogue. When you see people, the first thing they try to say throw out is racism. I said, man, why do that be the first thing people throw out when people have dialogue? Well, if that well, is Trump racist? I mean, like, and that's just another thing with people, man. You know, I feel we can't be, we just can't be like that. You know, and many of us use ignorance, you know, of the law as an excuse and add insult to injury when they say law is so-called white man's law, and it's not. You know, what he is exercising upon is color of law, a semblance of what is real. That's like when I use the phrases subjective and objective. Yeah, that person may feel like that, but I bet you it's a whole bunch of other people that agree with what I'm saying. And that's where I say it's just an issue with me when people don't think. You know what I mean? When people can't be honest in their dealings, you know, to make a blind statement like, well, I don't see color, like a person, just like we had a conversation in theology class one day at GCU, and a European person made a statement to my professor, and now my professor is a European, and he be cutting people with a knife. She said the same thing. She was like, "What do you mean you don't see color?" She like, and he was like, "Well, that's racist." He was like, "Oh, so you can say you don't see color to shut this individual down as because he feel the reason why things has been subjugated because color has been whitewashed and certain things have been whitewashed out of history, and to say, oh, color don't matter, this is just we just love." I think that's cliche because it got to be about it, because if you're not Negro, Black, and color and African American, it's all about that. It's all about that. And for the person that have a right of a nationality and the right to change, and for the person that have the right to research who they are, I don't think that's racist for that person to say they see color. Now you should see the context of their understanding. Now you should want to say, okay, well, what do you mean? Can you use it in a sentence? Well, break it down. You see it. And as I'm explaining it, I don't see how a person can get racism or racist from my statement. Like I said, that's just hard for me to get. But hey, it is what it is, and everybody have their right to whatever they feel, just like I have the right to say and do what I feel, long as it don't hurt anybody or disrespect anyone. Because I'm not here to do that. You know, that's not my mission. You know, but at the same time, I'm gonna always stand my ground with truth and understanding. You know, because everybody gonna feel a certain way about things that you do. You know, but let's proceed. Besides all the long so-called, when they say white man is taking a verbal and written oath to the principles of law, even brothers, you know, they take it, you know, an oath. And it's also universal principles to be done as well. So we should know these things. We should be studied well. You know, our children should be studied well at a young age. And our people do suffer for a lack of knowledge. That's stated in the scriptures. Bits of information acts as keys upon which you can study, research, and unveil the truth, even in an attempt to disprove it. One finds they affirm it to be so, even when they try to disprove it. We all know that truth is the light that shines and sets us free. And at the very least, a knowledgeable and conscious people certainly cannot be enslaved by lies unless what? Willfully, unless you let the vampire in. I'm telling you. So we speak to those who really want to be free. And at the very least, want your children to understand this. And if that is not the desire and intent, then they need not to talk about or complain or talk about marching or talk about some civil rights or some reparations. Talk about some struggle to fix the abuse and the misuse bestowed upon us all as they continue to identify the problem and the solution incorrectly. And if we know the root cause, then we can exercise the cure, because correction cannot come about without accurate knowledge of the problem. And if this describes you, it's necessary for you to know you are not the struggle and you are not in the struggle. You are, however, steeped in emotions and how you feel about it. Thus, you may be struggling to come to terms with the truth. You are spinning around in a circle, maybe, being led to think you have made some victory per se, but have not, as an evidence by the condition we are in still today, which, by the way, has gotten worse as we see, as evidenced by the condition in a lot of people's lives and the life of those around us. You know? So I always say the pen is mightier than the sword, and I shoot from the lip, not the hip. You know, I've been called plenty things, and I'm okay with that. But that's another profound statement. Veiled behind it is the sword, which is translated into the written word. And the spelling, the ing, the spelling is cast. Let's look at a little something. We got a little bit more time. We get out of here. When you look at information from encyclopedia regarding the world history regarding Moors, this information is reference to Charles or to Charlemagne, known as Charles the Hammer, and Alfonso the first through the sixth. There were actually 12 generations of Alfonsos. And in this document, 5 or 6 generations of them fighting Moors to gain power and rule over the land and the people. When you look at the dates, are far back as 600s, 700s. In fact, by doing the math, wherein the Moors civilized Spain in 832 and reigned for over 700 years, it brings you to 1500s or so, and to Christopher Columbus' voyage near the 1500s. Charles Martel, Charles the Hammer, 688, 741. We don't know. Research it. Research that history. But if one of the most important battles in the world history, it was a battle. And the battle was Frankish ruler, natural son of Pepin, of Hestal, and grandfather of Charlemagne. After the death of his father, 714, he became mayor of the palace of Austrasia, or Austrasia, and Neustria. Having previously crushed all opposition, he extended his rule to Burgundy, Aquitaine, and Provence. Having subjugated many of the German tribes across the Rhine, he encouraged the activity of Saint Boniface and other missionaries among them. Charles Martel halted the Muslim invasion of Europe by his victory over the Moors of Spain in the Battle of Tours or Poitiers, the Battle of Tours or Poitiers. Peace, Noble Brian. One of the decisive battles of world's history. That was one of the most battles in world history, besides the War of Ferdinand and Isabella. It's a little red book that they give you in academia, probably in the library shelves. If you see it, you should get it and read it. Very powerful. Although he never assumed the title of king, he divided the Frankish land like a king between his sons, Pippin the Short and Carloman. So you see all this stuff they're not going to teach you in school. Any person, particularly when the people be saying they scholars, clearly know about this battle. They know this. Every scholar, every educator that I've met, every professor at GCU know this. Everyone, every European professor. And then I be meeting misnumbered black professors. They act like they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And they be teaching fake African-American history. I'll be like, and they be teaching some Willie Lynch. And they be teaching all that stuff. I'll be like, Willie Lynch, roots, all that's fake. They don't mention it, nor do they come back from their studies and call us Moors, as we rightfully and historically are by heritage. What I'm doing, coming back from my studies in academia and coming right back. Moors, nomadic people of northern shores of Africa, the original inhabitants of Mauritania. They mixed with the successive conquerors and are now a dark-skinned race, chiefly of Berber. Remember, they tried to call you Berber, and then they tried to connotate it and call you what Berber mean barbarian. But we know Sheikh Anta Diop told you what the barbarian is. But then, if you was a Berber, they know goddamn go well that you were ancient Amazigian. Research it. You were always free. You was an ancient Amazigian. And then we can go with the other linguistics. You can go to the one world Tartarian, and the European would agree with what I'm saying as well. The European scholars and the one world Tartarian. And it can't be racist. Why? If I can pull up all my European scholars when they say, no, they're not white, European, they're Anglo-Saxon. That's why he'll say, well, he's like, what do you think Revelations 2 and 9 and 3 and 9 is? He'll break down the history better than me. He'll break it down better than me. As they towel on my head. Yeah. What do you say, Malik? You say, I had to break the river on my head. As they towel on my head. I had to correct that. He say, yeah. And that's like I say. And just like I said, just like when the person was on here, talk about they don't see color. And I said, I do. I ain't say I see color like I'm so racist. I said I see color. I'd be lying if I didn't. And that's that cliche stuff with me. I've been in academia. I've been in the linguistic when a person can try to just shut you down where color don't matter. What? Hold the hell up. If color didn't matter, then the creator would have created us all the same then. With that dumb stuff. The color don't matter. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Color does matter because you matter. That's why. And you should be proud of who you are. That's why color matter. You should be proud of your nationality, your race, your status. You should be proud of your culture. Color does matter. That it does. Your family, your coat of arms, your family crest, it do matter. Hell. You got Moriscos and more. I mean, Moors were under both craft. Moriscos, Moradines, you know. The ARAP, the ARAP. There's no disrespect to no one. The ARAP, get Vladimir Medell dictionary, ancient dictionary of what an Arab is. Get Bertrand Thomas' book of what the Arab is, the ancient Arab. These people that have stayed with the Arab, these Europeans, they'll tell you what the Arab is. Those scholars, you know. That's why I be laughing at people. I say, man, I don't come from no rape. No, come on, man. It'd be crazy. And I don't have to explain that to no one. But people jump on social media and they can just say anything. You know? But the science we talk about, the I, the self, the law, the math, our pentagram standing straight up. Understand that God and man is one. You know? That's our way of life. Nothing outside ourselves. Remember in 711 under Tariq, they crossed into Spain in 711 and without difficulty overran the crumbling Visigothic kingdom of Roderick, you know? I don't have no thoughts on the term Jew. I don't have no thoughts on it. I don't have no thoughts on it. You got to be a little bit more specific with me. I love all words. I mean, I don't understand. Is it short for what? Judah? Jew? Tribe of Judah? Lineage of David by blood? Jew? Jewish? I don't get it. So I don't have no problem with the word Jew. You know? I have no problem when a brother call himself Jew. Just like I don't have no problem when nobody call himself Mo. Just like I don't have no problem when nobody call himself an Israelite. I don't have no problem when nobody call himself nothing. That's why I tell people, as long as they understand, because you can be whatever the heck you want. That's what I tell people. But I hope everybody understand that it's one nationality, many cultures. And today, when it's talk about proclaiming, declaring, and have due process, I hope everybody can put away the little personal things and deal with some things that we can agree to move forward. If not, then we're gonna always be in these splinter groups. I'm this. Yes, but you're still a more. I'll give you a little bit of science. Let me see. Let me break it down. melanated. For anybody that's melanated, call it all melanated Jews are Moors, but all Moors are not Jews. If you saying the Jewish under the Jewish perspective of understanding, just like I can say melanation or anybody that say they are Moor, I can say all Islamic Moors, all Al Islam Moors, all Al Islam brothers are Moors, but all Moors are not Al Islam. You know, that's all I'm saying. So I don't have a problem with it. We are all that. I don't have a problem with nothing. That's why I be telling people everybody have the right to be whatever the science they feel. You know, but when you look at history, it's in our face. It's in our face, and we don't like to be educated. It be right in our face. I've taught this a plethora of times. It's in our face. All the signs and symbols is right in our face. Been proving it a plethora of times, as my noble Malik been saying over there. I've been doing this for years. I don't listen to nobody. I don't listen. Do you? Let me. Okay. I'm glad. I'm glad. Ooh. I've been waiting for somebody to actually have some nuts up in here. You know what I'm saying? Hey. Who did it? Who was that? Nasir, I've been waiting for somebody. I don't know if you're a man or what, but I've been waiting for somebody to have some kahunas and ask some questions. Cause I'm gonna ask you some questions. I don't listen to it. Do you? Now, I've heard, I've seen, I sat down and people hit me up was like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I said, whoever doing these things, I don't care who it is. I say, you're gonna be in trouble. I said, if anybody talk about they some Moorish counseling with this person, and I saw how they mix this truth and falsehood, and I see how they do that, and people know I know because I've been around, and when I call it out, I said, whoever doing it, you in trouble. And then you got to think about things. You be like, well, damn, if other people get in trouble that do this, and this person don't get in trouble, what do you think? In the streets, you would think what? Come on now. But hey, who am I? Who am I? I don't deal with no barbershop talk. I don't deal with no whole spookism. I've seen stupid videos when people get pulled over in cars and see a certain individual pull up and start talking about a whole bunch of stuff that don't need word salad and a Jekyll Island and the secret meeting in Jekyll Island. What secret meeting in Jekyll Island? This shit been done. You think he mixes falsehood? I don't think nothing. I don't have to play. I don't think nothing. I don't think nothing. My platform is not for that. I said, whoever, I paint the picture. I said, anybody that's saying that you can file this and doing this, that's Roger Elvick, Sovereign Citizen Movement, whatever it is. If it's talk about you going to cancel corporate debt, if you squatting in houses, if you drive without no license, if you saying you some Moroccan from foreign national, all that is Roger Elvick, you're a paradigm group. That's not more science. That's all I'm saying. So if anybody doing any of those things, that's what I'm talking about. Whoever doing it. Because at first, individuals were talking about the Zodiacus. And then everybody, once the COVID came out, everybody came with this nationalizing thing. But then when it came out that it was Fugazi, everybody started backtracking with it. Because no one can nationalize you or denationalize you. That'll change you from the descendant natures of your foremothers and forefathers. Only thing a person can do is make you a Freemason. So whoever doing it, whoever talk about they some Moorish consulate and they nationalize people, whoever doing it, whoever making some, this is my indigenous travel ID card, that's all Fugazi. It's all cosmetics. Because if you can meet somebody on the internet and make you some paper, you might as well make your own paper. Why would you pay somebody else for some paper? You got, like I said, brothers, my mufti's on here. This is what I be telling people. I travel, like, I've been transparent for years. All people got to do is go on my YouTube page and see have I been telling people to leave anybody in the burning house. I've been telling people this from day one. All that ID card stuff, all them fascist groups, them Negroes, excuse my candor, that moved to China and they was arguing with them rather the Moors because they was all making ID cards and they split up and some of the brothers ran to China and then they started making plates. I know this is why I be telling people they can't be mad at what I know. I seen them. I know what happens. So the only people be getting caught up in those things is people that's criminals. The only people that get caught up in expatriating from this de facto government is criminals. Why? Because they don't want to be a part of something that's real. They want it. They want something free, and it don't rock like that. None of it. It ain't no special law. It ain't no paperwork. It ain't. It's none of that. It's no paperwork. And all these Moors, they just. I don't. Like I said, I don't know. But it ain't no traps. All this stuff is old. This is not a new game, my brother. This is old. This stuff is old. And no disrespect, this is a European old game. It comes from Roger Elving. Research what I'm telling people. And then that other European group called the Paradigm Group from Canada. They, our prophet, we never taught no crap like this. Everything can be researched. I tell people about the CCRD, the County Clerk Recorder of Deed, where you can get that paper that showed that the 1099 ain't no trust fund at the end of the rainbow. It's a religious affidavit. I told people, and those sheiks been lying, and that was back in what 2012. It's no way nobody can get caught up because everything about the Moorish Science Temple of America is public record. That's why I don't understand when people say getting caught up. I say, who are you getting caught up with? You can't be getting caught up with no sheik from the Moorish Science Temple of America because I'm from the temple and I'm an educator in real life. So I don't. If anybody send it, if a Moor from the Moorish Science Temple of America and he got his documents from the temple and he knows the basics and he teaching somebody something wrong, then he can be brought up in charges because he know better. Because he know better. Because the laws know. That's why they use the laws against these clowns that say you more science Temple of America. They be lying. No, they not. They fascist group. And they be following certain individuals. I'm telling you. I've been doing this too long. My mufti's on here. They'll tell you. Every angle, every game that people done came, that's why it's certain people that's with me now and there's certain people that's not with me. Because I tell them what's going to happen before they do it. And it happens every time. They be like, well, damn, Sheik, how you know? I be like, because what we mean. Like, come on, when you right, you right. When you wrong, you wrong. That's why I tell people, I say, man, I've been doing this too long. It's nothing nobody can say to me and harm me. That's like I tell people social media, you got to have tough skin because people are going to say whatever they want to say and really don't know you. That's fine. But I thought in America we have religious rights and the choice. And to have discussions to get to a level of understanding or at least agree to not to agree. What you say, my brother? Let me see. I can't read fast enough. What's the game? Chattel slavery. If so, what's the point of the Moor playing the game when he is the prize of the game? Well, you know what, brother? It's like if I don't know what you mean when he say he's the prize of the game. Why play the game? Because he's the prize of the game. I say, okay, well, what's inside the prize? Because I get it, but our brother's self-sufficient. Our brothers, because like we have things, like I said, we have 10 acres. Like if brothers willing to come together and put money together and do some things because we can do things. I know everybody not eating rice and beans. I know everybody working. So I say a lot of people just wasteful. And a lot of brothers and sisters don't put money behind things. And that's why movements don't happen. That's why you won't see a movement like Dr. York. You know, how he had all that land and things like that. That's why it's taken myself, I just use myself and my tribe longer because we're doing it the right way. You know, I'm back in my city of Flint, you know, buying land and lots and houses, fixing them up on my own dime. You know, me and my muftis, we purchased 10 acres in Mojave, Arizona. We have a lot of ideas and plans, but as we continue to move forward, it takes funds. We taxes them for the federal government. People just giving their money away. So I understand we the prize, but we got to do something with the gift. If we ain't gonna do nothing with the gift, it's like having talent and not using it. It's like a person when they get older, man, you know, I had game in high school, man, but I didn't play because I ain't had the grades, and they make all these excuses, and then in their adult life, they nothing. You know what I mean? Don't use the brain, don't use the power, don't use that law of attraction, don't use all these things, and just be complaining with what else. A lot of people have questions, which is all good. But I say, with questions, well, do you have any answers? Because for me, I don't look at excuses. I understand that it's a nation in a nation. And I understand there's a lot of things on this earth plane that I want to do. So I operate in love and joy every day. The more is why the game was made in the first place. Why play the game that was made to trap you? We don't create this law system. That's irrelevant. Well, once again, brother, where's your tribe? Just like the Mormons, or the Amish. I get that. I get what you're saying, brother. But if brothers like Amish, what is brothers doing to do their own thing? Cause I'm all ears. Just like I said, I hope we're not just here just to be rhetoric and asking questions. Like, I'm all ears. I'm down with solutions. I hear it. So what are individuals doing to how can I say, to build their own communities and live off the grid and not play the game and have your own garden and do all that? What are those some of the things that maybe some of the ideas that you have and what's in your brain? Do you have these conversations? Do you have a podcast and I can come join and we can talk about these things? And maybe you may have a community that you're doing these things with, you know? Or what answers to some of these solutions do you have? I would like to hear those things. I would like to hear some of those things that you may have. Like, what are some of the solutions that you have? What are some of the things that you're doing to prepare not only yourself but the people with you? Is there any? Is that something that you're doing with your movement? Because you're asking some good questions, but I think those questions should also come with some substance. You know, that's all I'm asking. Cause we can play what if and all this. The more is why the game was made in the first place. Why play the game that was, what he said. He said, why play the game that was made to trap you? We didn't create this law system. I know we didn't, but okay, so what law system we gonna create? Because the Constitution with the 20 sections, I know I didn't write nothing per se. I know I didn't write nothing per se, but I always ask brothers, well, give me some solutions. Give me some things to add in the toolbox for maybe we can work on some things together. Like I said, that's what I have because I'm a real person. We could talk about all day and say, what if this and maybe this and say the game is this and we didn't write this, which I agree. Now, what's next, my brother? Like, what's next? Like I said, are you building with a community that's making progress or trying to purchase land and live off the grid and have some homesteads and maybe you have a garden, maybe we can get, or do you have fruits and vegetables or are you producing some on your own? I don't know. I know with us, we produce a lot of our regalia, a lot of our books on our own. We have our own herbs and tea. We do a lot of business together. We have our own web company. And so we definitely progressing to have subordinate temples in different areas and do things together where we can control our community and buy a lot of the plight in the area where misnomer black people are and revitalize it. I have a whole blueprint to where a lot of land is given to me through my nonprofit. And I have a blueprint to revitalize the community with I wouldn't call them trailers, but double wides or fab houses already together, no basements. Once they put on the flat floor and boom, on your cement base and change the neighborhood and have our neighborhood as a religious community, which you have to be buzzed in to have our own security. That's my mission that I want to do in my neighborhood in the city of Flint and other urban communities. That's just plight because in my city of Flint, Michigan, it's literally street that's abandoned. And on my Facebook page, I've shown these things, and I've been doing this for years. So that's just my mission that I've done in real life. You know what I mean? And that's what I do. So that's just the part of me that I enjoy. And I always tell people this paradigm, everybody have their own passions and dreams. My dream may not be this person's dream. My success may not be this person's success, but I believe it can all be part of the paradigm if we have a common denominator. So that's what I'll be liking to see when people don't be pointing You know, and saying, well, what about this? I think we should be saying, well, this brother's doing this, I can add on to this, and I'm doing this with my group of people, because we can just have dialogue all day and never get nowhere. Peace, Noble Dantes. Yeah, we on YouTube as well. So that's why I uh, uh so that's why I'll be asking brothers and sisters when they ask me a whole bunch of questions and they say, well, the more this, and the other. I said, I get that. But what are other people passions and desires? Because my mission may not be a person's mission, and all that stuff be okay. But I don't think people should be coming and I'm not saying no one is doing that. I don't think a person should be coming with a degree of force or lower energy to say certain things. Well, I will be doing this, and well, I would do it this way, and I would do this. I tell everyone, well, make it happen. Because I give people all praise when they're doing positive things, and we can do things together. That's why I tell people, never let someone tell you your dream is not good, or never let someone tell you not to do something that you're doing that they not doing, or they don't have the audacity or the power to do. Just like I was telling a young noble before, I said, man, a young brother that I'm dealing with, he's gathering a whole bunch of young men. And I say, it take a special person. It take a special young man to gather men. And I say, you doing this at a young age, under the auspices, under guidance, love to be taught because he's a leader, And that's what I tell people. It takes special individuals. So you're going to have to take a lot, especially when people are pointing and ridiculing. Because if you're not doing nothing right, you won't be ridiculed. And coming on social media, being an open book, is another level of understanding. My noble Dantes, I hope you get on YouTube. We had that conversation a plethora of times as well. But I can also talk about my mission with my muftis and my brothers and our families and things, because I say a land for a household. I can't go out and convince the world if I can't convince my family. So with me, my mother and my father are one of my biggest supporters. My empress is down with me. And so with all my brothers that I got in different states, we're setting up for they can have subordinate temples and they can operate in a certain manifestation where they're able to take advantage of different tax exempt statuses and do work in the community. And if and as their aspirations and their community work begins to grow and they see how they can do things in the community and own houses and get land, then they'll start putting the petitions together and saying, hey, we own this and that. Now we have a home for, say, single moms or this, not and the other. Now we got subordinate temples like little units and this, not and the other. We brothers getting out of jail and things, or sisters that need recovery or shelters. Now we have community outreach. We have lunch programs, we have working out, we have all these things, resume writings. We do a lot of things in-house where people don't have to go out for. I saw something on TikTok where someone's grandma was getting harassed by another lady at the YMCA doing aerobics because she ain't want the lady next to her. So a lot of these things we can do ourselves. The churches used to do these things when I was younger, but those concepts are good things. All those concepts, community development, that's my passion. That's my dream that the Creator has given me. I see that, and I see the need in our communities. So that's what we're doing here at the BBT. And I know it can be done, because we're not getting it. We're not getting these things from nowhere else. We're not getting it from churches. We're not getting it from no temples. And when people say, well, this is our land, we didn't create no laws, I always ask people, I say, well, what are we going to do? Because everybody, have the wrong energy and they be upset. I say, I get this. Where I say, well, what are you building? Do you have land? Like, are you educated? Do you know how to even garden? Do you know what wood is good for burning and building? Do you know what mushrooms you can eat? Like, it's so much I think people don't understand, because a lot of people don't have no skills. They don't have no real skills. What we do is complain. It's almost like Harry Belafonte was telling them back in the day, Mama, remember, he was like, y'all football players play football. Y'all actors be actors. Let the ones that do the work and be a part of it. But don't put the wrong energy and don't put spells on things because people be sitting and be playing, quarterback in the chair. That's why I be saying everything need positive energy when thing is a good. And that's what I try to do on social media. But I understand people. I understand the world. That's why I'm okay to have these conversations with people. That's why I'm okay. Like my mom right here. Like people don't understand the type of person I am. I help all people. I done helped so many different nationalities go to school. You know what I mean? All different nationalities. Been to prisons. I even converted Aryan nations when I used to go to the Thumb Correctional Facility. So for people to not understand these things and for us as a people not to understand and change the paradigm of how we act towards each other, you know, and how we deal with, thank you, Brother Carlin, and how we deal with each other. For people to jump on social media and I say with disrespect, I always, like I tell people, I always expect disrespect. I have, and I hate to say it like that. What did you say, Sheik? I said I always expect disrespect when it's coming from social media. I always expect disrespect. In real life, I'm a real person, so I don't get disrespect in real life because I do real things in real life. But on social media, it's easy for a chump to say something. It's easy. It's easy. Why? Because they feel they can't be touched. It's easy for a sucker to say something because, and they try to say cliche like they don't see this, man. That's just crazy. What's the purpose for a person like myself to go to academia and to get degrees not to talk about who they are? That is the craziest thing in the world. That's why I tell my brothers and sisters, we cannot let this religion aspect and not knowing who we are as a people, we cannot let no one overtalk us. We cannot let no one get us with that linguistic apartheid. You say that's a fact. They allowed the black man to be free. Right now, we are not in the to be free. I'm for real, man, and it's just not. It's a new day. You say that's a fact. If they allowed the black man to be free, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I see it every day, and that's why I said I'm in real. I live in Arizona, which is a red state. Which is a red state. Everybody that know me, my muftis met me at my stores. I used to live in Tucson, Arizona, aka you knowville, in the desert. Come on, man, and people met me there. My muftis met me there. Most of my clients were Europeans. Man, I was friends with so many Jehovah Witnesses, all type of stuff. European people invite me to come to their churches and their homes and train their kids. That's how I got popular in Arizona, training kids in sports. Man, hell, the gyms used to let me come for free. What are people talking about? That's why I try to tell my people the work that we doing, and even for my muftis, me and my brother Dantes, we had a conversation today. We gotta step up. You know, everybody think we have time. We don't have time because somebody can take this further. Because I see Brother Spirit. It's just like we got to have the same spirit as like we courting a woman. And a lot of brothers are not on that level. What you mean, Sheik? You got to have the same spirit as when you're courting a woman. Are you getting up, dressed up? Are you doing those certain things? Why? The same spirit of you courting a woman that you want everything for yourself, that you want to build with your brothers. And see, we can get there. Because when two or more gather, they're the Holy Spirit. What makes anybody else, what makes any crew different than us? I'm trying to tell you what make us different is the effort. It's the effort. It's the effort because the wisdom there, the know-how is there. Why? Because I got the blueprint. That's that's why. Dantes know it. Dantes know. Everybody know she got the blueprint. If brothers can come on more, it can be done. Why? Because all I'm doing is working with a template of what? Success. All we got to do is fill a template in. I ain't say me. I said all we have to do is fill a template in. It take all those intricate parts. And then what happened? One body and many parts. Y'all know that. This is the keys to success. And it don't have to just be in my city of Flint. Hell, it can be in St. Louis. It can be in all these places where the community is at, where it's plight at. I'm telling you what I know, man. Even with our library, man, brothers need to do work in a community. You cannot be from a community and from all these places, and we ain't knocking on doors, not knocking on doors physically, but saying, hey, man, we have something to offer. Hey, grandma, hey, granddad, hey, my brother can come here and give a divine message. Hey, I mean, that's what I'd be saying. What are we afraid of? I'm telling y'all, man. I know this, and the only reason why I say this is because when things start to get happen, I know what happened. I get excited because I know what's getting ready to happen. I've been putting so much work in. I went to a bookstore today, just happenstance, and I ride past this bookstore all the time. You know, somebody hit me at one of my muftis. We was getting an electric check at one of the rental spots, and he was like, "Bro, you know Mama Soul." So Mama Soul, if you ever check Mama Soul out, she is a dope artist in the city of Flint. She do positive music, but she dope. He was like, "Bro, you need to go down there. They got a bookstore. You a source, and you print and bind books." And then he was like, today a lot of people travel. They don't want to carry books. They want ebooks. And I said, we do that as well. So just these connections and being a source of information, because my library is extensive. I notice if professors at Grand Canyon University at Arizona State say my library is exclusive, I know that for a fact. If I got books that cost thousands of dollars, I know I got something for my brothers and sisters. Look at all these books. All these books. And this just on one database. Watch this. All these books just on one database. Watch. All these books on one database. All these books. And all through the day, students be hitting me up. I email them books because they want them on their tablets. I have every book in the world. Just today, one of my muftis, Alonzo Wright Bay, his son is going to Seton Hall, and I think he's taking a religion class, right? If I'm not mistaken. And he hit me up. All right, let me show you. I'm gonna show y'all real things. 'Cause I only talk about real stuff. I only talk about real life situations, and I'm glad this real life situation is on here. So, one, I want to say gratitude to my mufti, Alonzo Wright Bay, and his son going to Seton Hall. So, here go the text message, and all my muftis can read it because they got it too. Then I'm gonna read the text message to y'all. I'm gonna read it. Wait, y'all can't even see it. Wait, but I'm gonna read it to you, and I'm gonna read the text message, and I'm gonna tell you what it say. This is my homeboy, one of my muftis, Alonzo Wright Bay. His son is a freshman at Seton Hall University. He like, peace, sheet. I'm like, peace, my brother. He said, Zoe Jr. got his syllabus and looking for these two pieces, checking with you first. So it's the Tanakh, the Holy Scriptures, and the New Oxford Annotated Apocrypha. Now, when I tell you I have everything, look, my dad got the hard copy right here. My dad be studying. He be all in the science, you know. And these the books right here that my noble asked for. Now I have everything already as ebooks. So right now, even the books only cost one cost $18 and one cost $22. But he don't have to spend that money. He don't have to spend that much money on nothing. I'm finna show you another message from one of my other muftis. Watch this. Where you go? Where my brother Brian Hicks Bay? Cause one of my other brothers, cause school's starting. I told people, okay, watch this. Where it go? Where it go? Here you go down there. That was for Brian. Okay, where it go? Okay. Here go another message from my other mufti, my brother Brian Hicks Bay. When I tell y'all, I do this in real life. A lot of college books I have hard copy, and I just haven't converted them yet. Because a lot of people, the authors, like a lot of the books, the science books, a lot of the authors, they don't have them available. But I got a lot of them because I used to go and collect them all. But this is what my noble Brian said. He said, Peace sheet, a student wanted to know if we have any of these books. Now, these ain't just no regular books. These are books for college classes. I know what it is. These books for college courses. You know, one of the books was Fundamentals of Respiratory Care, the 12th edition, $137.99. Clinical Assessment Respiratory Care, $57. And then other required stuff. his equipment and all that. So a lot of those books I have, I told my brother, I said, peace. I said, Brian, most of these school books have been taken off the internet as PDF downloads. I have access to all these books, but not downloads. But I said I have a physical copies that I got from GCU, and I think I sent them this one already. I only had one, but a lot of physical books I already have. So I'm just saying, the work what I do. Are you for public schooling with a regular curriculum? Am I for public schooling? I'm for whatever people need. Public schooling ain't hurt me. One, two, threes, and ABCs. That's all you should. That's all you can get from public schooling. Public school ain't hurt no one body. The one, two, threes, the ABCs, but anything else, I mean, but that it's a reason public schools is there. Why? Because we don't teach them. Home schools and schooling, just like the churches were the schools. The churches were the first schoolhouses. So, am I for public school? Is it public school necessary because there's no other schooling? But if it was set up the right way, I don't think we would need public schooling. Hell, there ain't that many public schools in the city of Flint, no way. You know, especially let alone high schools. But it's just like when people create schools like Jalen Rose and LeBron James, they have schools, public schools. Now, now I can say what are they schools doing? I think it's doing a good because what it's doing, the teaching. I don't know have the curriculum change, but is it a safer environment? Are the kids more attentive? Maybe, you know. But the curriculum, I feel that children should be taught something who they are at a young age because the conspiracy to destroy black boys and girls is relevant to this day. You can get a misnomer black boy and sit them down, or a girl and sit them down and get the black doll and the white doll, and 9 times out of 10, that misnomer black child will pick the white doll saying it's beautiful. You know? So, and then it's a certain way I would teach our melanated boys and girls. It's a certain way I would teach them. I'm sorry. Yes, I would. I would teach them to be what? More than average. I would teach them have to be. I would teach them to be scholars at a young age. How? In the fourth grade. In the fourth grade, most of the young kids that I'll be dealing with would be scholars. Why? Because that's how I would raise them. I would teach them all martial arts. I would teach them all language. I would teach them all finances, microeconomics, macroeconomics. I would teach them all gardening. I would teach them all mechanics. I would teach them all about scouting. What wood is good to make fires and etc. All those things at a young age. Yes, absolutely. So those things that need to be taught at the home. But do I have a problem with public education? Nope. I don't have a problem with nothing. If nobody not going to teach the kids, if we're not going to do it, somebody got to teach them. Do we have opportunity to do these things? Yes. Now, if a person asks me, are our kids set up for failure? Yes. Do a lot of our kids are a lot of our kids prepared for the next level of schooling? No. Why? Because our kids have to go to different schools and have special classes to get the basics. And most schools, like I just say, use a school in Michigan called Powers Catholic School. Those schooling have a standard. So those kids coming out of that high schooling is going to be equipped with some different type of skills. Then the average young man or woman coming out of a public school that don't have a magnet program anymore and that can just slide through without being challenged, without taking some college courses while you were in high school. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got, man. I don't have too much. I give everyone honor and gratitude for taking time out y'all day. You know, like I said, I just get on here to have dialogue with people as we continue to move, as we continue to build with my brothers and do real things. But I tell people, you have the right of a nationality. You have the right to change it. And no one would be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. And the claim a child replaces the birth certificate. That's what I'm here to tell my brothers and sisters. And you have the right. You have the right. You have the right. Your nationality and your spirituality was taken from you from so-called slavery. And we're not Negro, black, or colored, and African Americans, you know? So that's what I tell people. But I love y'all, man. I give y'all gratitude, peace, light, and illumination.